are a kind and generous people. So I'm going to ask you to do something which is kind of unkind of me. I'm going to ask you not to applaud if you want to, between what appear to be poems, because in a way I believe these things all run together. And so I'd like to experience them running together. You may not want to, but I'm asking for me. We'll start with something short. Romney Variation. The California Castle docent said, "Isn't it remarkable? Ketchup from the bottle on poached otter from the bottle, like the rest of us." And now, yes, it takes a moment. And now, I will say too, I sort of feel, because I haven't read in public in a long time, and so putting these together, I realized how both sad and angry they were. So this is pretty much a sadness and angry bath with your clothes on. Old Brain Song, I Am a Diving Duck. The river will not become whiskey no matter how much wishful singing goes on. So where do we go from here? A pint is emptyable, therefore a pint is inadequate except as a shim for our unevenness. Now the river is grief, and we dive to the bottom without effort, then rise to the surface and rest. Whiskey is a little while, comfort all our days. So drink up, campers. So I will read one poem, and it will be the longest poem I read, from the book, just to really get immersed, Sadness Therapy. And this is quasi-autobiographical, except for how weird it is. Sadness Therapy. On the second floor, the doors had plaques attached to indicate the duties of their rooms. Physical therapy, occupational therapy, chaplain, and others. Behind the Sadness Therapy door, a reproduction of Picasso's Guernica took up most all of one wall. And there were shelves muddled with paper and stubby pencils, gray clay and glass jars, fringe and beads for macrame, and wood and paints and nails and glue. Sit at that table, my counselor told me, and focus on the horse's throat. I want you to make me a model of what you think it has to say. I could not move. That happens, he said. I'll take you back to your room now. The TV in my room that night played a talk show with the horse as guest. The audience let go some laughter while the hacked animal tried to reassemble in a yellow chair beside a potted palm. I guess, the host said, you knew Picasso extremely well. I turned the channel to a sports show where they ran a clip of the horse crumpled over a 10-foot putt, certain to rim it, and faced the derision. I switched then to the public station, where a panel discussed Picasso's Guernica. The author of The Definitive History of Bombing Civilians tisked and said, the death toll certainly doesn't warrant the size of the canvas. He said, imagine Hiroshima. The critic of the use of pigment said, I figure this more as something for plastics. I'd rather be walking among the jagged relics than having to stand so far away. the last panelist was the one true God, who said, "I'm simply perplexed by such sympathetic treatment of what, after all, was a box of beasts that fell apart. Don't they all?" I turned the TV off. There was no more need. "I'm ready to go home," I told the doctors on their morning rounds. "Have you made a model of the horse's voice?" "Look at me," I said, knowing the answer.